Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review episode 273. This one reviewing the 273rd episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generation's Farewell Academy. We have reached the conclusion of the first story arc of the new batch of episodes. Yes. That lasted for 13 episodes, which I'll get to more of that later. Okay, this episode starts off with, well, we picked the last time where Kawaki is fighting Hana. He's there with Himawari and Kai. He fights her for a little while, but they can't exactly kill her because, well, they're still technically her teacher. Their teacher, so. Then we see some things that basically, now here's the thing. Hana does a move that I have not seen since Naruto Shippuden. What is, you might ask? The paper jutsu. Yes, the only other person I've actually seen do this is a character who's currently deceased. Yes. I believe, I know she's a member of the Akatsuki. I think she's, I'm trying to remember her name. It's a woman with blue hair. Oh, Kanan. Yeah, Kanan. Yeah, she was the only other character I could think of who used paper jutsu. And it surrounds basically Kawaki, surrounds the three. Now, this scene is very similar to also a scene also in the original Naruto series. That time involving Dirt, I believe, was one of the Sound Ninja 4, or at least Sound Ninja 5. Yeah, the muscle guy of the group, the one who Choji am fighting in that particular arc. Yeah, this is very similar to that. And of course, the three come with a plan to eliminate this. Now, I'm glad the fact that this particular whoever wrote this episode remembered. Oh yeah, Himawari knows the Byakugan. He knows how to use Byakugan. She just can't control it very well, which okay, she's probably early stage, and of course she uses it. And then she senses like locked on. Then she needs to bash out part of the wall. Does this twice. Second time, basically, of Kawaki fighting her, and then of course it stopped. Meanwhile, the students basically run to the shoreline, hopefully find some help. And we see this mysterious guy in a cloak. We get a chance to see who he is in a minute. And the thing is, is it one of the assassin's lackeys? No. It is. I'll get to who it is. So, then Hana gets defeated, and then her students show up, and the mysterious man in the cloak turns out to be Sai. I'm like, where the heck have you been this whole arc? Which, by the way, he's not the only pops in this episode who hasn't seen in a while in the series, where Hana is basically taken sort of into custody, mostly taken to the hospital, where she's basically visited by Anko, Shino, and get this, Sakura! When was the last time we saw her in the series? You know, that's a real question. I think for her it's been even almost as long as basically Sai. And then, of course, basically, well, then we have Shikamaru, Sai, Kawaki, and Naruto in Naruto's office, obviously. Oh yeah, this whole plan with the minister, it's done. Completely done. This whole thing is all completely wrapped up now. And of course, Hana is not being punished. She was actually offered to obliterate that personality because they both think we're the most personality thing. Which begs the question, why the heck did not consult Ino in this episode? She would have been perfect. Like, you could have had her basically help her, but there's no mention of Ino. It's like, I watched this episode, the whole personality thing. I'm sure Kawaki might not know about it, but Himawari probably does. He's probably thinking, Mr. Sai, can you get Auntie Ino? Can you Aunt Ino basically take care of this? Take care of her personality? He'd be like, sure, no problem. And I'm like, why couldn't they consult Ino in this particular arc, in these last couple episodes? They could have, but apparently the writers forgot to include her. I think they forgot. Like they forgot about Himawari's freaking Byakugan. Which, she's used it before this arc, like, a couple times. One's in a flashback, well, in the flashback before Naruto became Hokage. The other is during an episode where she actually met a couple of friends who actually does appear in this arc, where they, well, where she does use it. But this episode was the first time since that introduction for her Day at Ninja Academy episode. That was the first time since then that she's used the Byakugan in the entire series. Yep. So everything's all wrapped up, but Kai, despite being injured, is being requested to go back to the land of Bamboo. Why? Because her father's collapsed. What exactly happened beyond that? Don't know, because the writer of this episode didn't bother to explain that. It just, they probably have to write her out of this particular series. Probably for now, they might show her better. They might show her more later on in the series, but I probably write it out for now because they probably think, okay, this arc is concluded. We need to focus on something else. We only have Kai around in the Hidden Village just because this arc is officially wrapped up. So apparently she's going to take care of her little brother who was being influenced by the minister. So she leaves on the Thunder Train. Yes, the Thunder Train. Of course, Kawaki kind of waves up. We sort of see in the background, looks like we see a black dot on top of a building. Could that possibly be Assassin? Don't know. Because the episode doesn't go to, because basically goes straight to credits. Like, we actually cut to the Uzumaki house, where we see, well, another character we haven't seen in a long time in this series, Hinata. And of course, you have Himawari going off to the Ninja Academy, which is so nice to continuing that. I'm glad they're continuing that particular plot, because that needed to happen. And of course, there's a joke about when Barth joined the Academy. I should point out that happened 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. Yes, seriously. The next year probably makes 6 years since the series been on the air. 6 years. And I've reviewed this episode 1. And surprisingly, this is the only really long series I've not watched up yet. I own it on DVD. I just haven't watched it yet. That's the honest truth of the matter. Yep. So yeah, they go off. Of course, the episode ends quite nicely with Kawaki looking at a picture of his classmates and smiling. Next episode, we see return of Sasuke. First time seeing him since the last canon stuff we had in the series, where I believe he lost his Rinnegan. Yeah, he lost his Rinnegan eye, and also Naruto lost Kurama. That was last time he was in the series. So it's been a little while. It's nice to see him again. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him again in the series next week. And finally, for the first time in 14 episodes, we finally focus on Boruto. Yes. So, my final thoughts on this 13 episode arc. I do think it was good. Unlike, let's say, the last epic story with the hit and miss stuff, there was nothing really unnecessary in this arc, like an unnecessary death per se. No, not necessarily. I think the whole thing with the class is fine. The problem with the class itself, with the exception of Kai and like a couple other characters, a lot of the rest of the class did not get development at all. No, they don't. Do not know the reason for it. It's just that we just introduce these random characters in here, and a lot of them don't get much anything to do. I mean, here's the characters who are not Kai, Himawari, or Kawaki got development. Also, the pink hair girl, she gets a little bit of development in this thing. The one, I think it was a red hair girl, I don't remember her name. She's the one in charge of the school. She gets a little bit of development here. The one with the sweets. A couple of development for him. I believe the one guy who's actually sort of like, who basically tends to compete with Kawaki over Kai's affections. He gets a good amount of development in this thing, but a lot of their characters, like the one who's a cat girl, yeah, she gets practically nothing to do with this arc. Seriously. That's the biggest weakness of this arc, is that about half of the class in this arc pretty much are given nothing to do. They're just there. They don't really do anything. I do appreciate that some of the characters got a good amount of development, but a lot of the other characters don't get much anything to do. I mean, look at, let's say, Hana, for example. A lot of this arc, she pretty much was given nothing to do. Until they remembered, oh yeah, Kawaki needs to be guarding her from assassins. Which, that was another problem I have with this arc, is that we have that portion at the beginning, and I think that the arc forgot this plot thread for a while. And so, oh crap, this arc is about to end. We haven't really done anything with this assassination stuff. By the way, the minister, the main bad guy of this arc, he appears in 2 episodes. One in present day, the other time in a brief flashback when he gets arrested. And that's it. That's all you get from him. He gets mentioned a couple times. The problem is, like, the villains, like, Hana gets okay amount of development. I think her being an assassin kind of makes sense, given how the fact she acts a bit different than usual. Kind of sounds like Wakatsuki from Case Close. Very similar, but not really much over with her yet. But in the case of Hana, good character. I just thought it was kind of weird that apparently she showed up 10 years for the events of the series. Or apparently she's part of this hidden plan by the minister to assassinate Kai, which really makes no sense at all. It's almost like this whole side plot making her the assassin just came completely out of the blue. That doesn't seem like, to me, the whole thing with her, like, it was executed fine. Just the revelation of it just came completely out of nowhere. It just basically just felt like, I kind of felt as though this was very last minute to make her the assassin, because it just didn't make much sense. But the execution was fine. I had no problem with the execution. What happened after that was fine. I didn't have an issue with it at all. Not really, particularly. Some might ask, did Kawaki get the better development in this arc? I'd say he got a little bit. He basically was central focus in the arc. Him and Himawari were basically the main focus characters, aside from Kaie. But I think Kaie herself is a good character. I think it's maybe like one episode that she doesn't mention anything at all. But otherwise, though, for a original character for this arc, she does a really good job here. Now, oddly enough, these characters are not going to appear next episode because we'll go back to Boruto again. Yes, where he's working with Sasuke over a hawk that apparently can fly a distance of like 1,000 miles without collapsing, which is kind of odd. I think it's kind of looks interesting, but I'm hoping eventually I might get back to this class some point in the future. Yep, so that's pretty much it for this particular review. And that's going to be pretty much it. Also, videos, like I have no other videos planned for tonight. I was doing Case Closed, but Crunchyroll did not upload news episode. I think maybe it probably didn't come out. That's my personal guess. So tomorrow you might get maybe a comic corner, maybe 2 at least. But that's probably what's going to happen tomorrow because I do have an inner light now I'm going to be reading really soon. But see you in the next video. Bye.